Hey, what's up friends? Welcome to a news style video where we're going to be talking about some things going on in the Army news, and specifically about how some overseas assignments are going to be extended, at least for single soldiers anyways. So first, before I kind of get into it, for those of you that maybe are not familiar with the Army and how things work, you're going to be stationed at one location for X amount of time, for places like in the United States. It might be for 2 years, it might be for much more. Overseas usually has some kind of limitations as to how long a soldier is stationed overseas. So specifically, there's some duty assignments overseas that is going to affect this, that is going to change it for single soldiers, making their tours longer than they normally were before. And now I'm talking about permanent duty stations, not like, deployments or anything like that. These are actually where a soldier goes from one unit to an actual another unit, or maybe their very first unit might be overseas, whatever the case is, not deployments. Now, currently the way it is, if a soldier is married and they get sent to certain locations overseas, that's a 3-year tour. For single soldiers, in the past, it was a 2-year tour for a select location. Some locations are even shorter, maybe only a year. But this new policy that is going to change some of that only affects certain locations. I'm going to have a scrolling thing down here at the bottom of the screen that tells you which locations are actually being affected. But it's going from these 2-year tours to a 3-year tour for those individuals that are single soldiers and do not have dependents. So one of the two main reasons of why they're doing this is, one, to save on money, because you have these single soldiers that are spending 2 years at these locations, and then the married soldiers spending 3 years. Well, when it comes time for, that single soldier's time to be up and they get PCS'd or sent to another unit back stateside or wherever, now you have to replace that soldier with someone else that could or could not be another single soldier. So if that single soldier moves to go to another unit and they replace him with a married soldier, now they also have to spend money to move that soldier and his family and any household goods that they want to bring with them on this duty assignment. So that costs a little bit more money, where it might be a little bit cheaper for a single soldier, but it costs a little bit more for the married soldiers. Now, even though you could be still swapping out either married or single soldiers or whatever, but now with having them all be in 3-year assignments, then it's just less frequently, because you're not having to as frequently swap out soldiers. So it doesn't matter if it's a single soldier, replacing a married soldier or vice versa or whatever, because they're these 3-year tours rather than some being 2 and some being 3. It's less frequently that they're having to swap out these soldiers. Now, also kind of just along with that, the other reason why they're doing this is it just improves the ability for that unit to operate. You don't want to have to go and train these soldiers for 2 years and then they move to another unit, and now you get brand new soldiers or soldiers from another unit and you have to build them into the team and get them trained up if they're brand new or wherever the case might be. You have just an extra year basically to effectively use these soldiers to get them well trained before they're gonna turn around and go somewhere else. Now, even stateside, it's common to move soldiers around. They're not going to stay in one location usually for a really long time. It sometimes depends. I mean, nowadays they've gotten a little bit different. It used to be at one point where you'd only be at one location maybe for 2 years, and then you'd be switching it up to somewhere else. Now you could easily see a soldier spending like 6, 7, 8 years or whatever at one duty assignment. It just really depends. But they usually try to switch it up just so that things don't get too stagnant. You don't end up with leadership getting super comfortable and basically ruling with an iron fist because now they've got everything down, or just soldiers just being stuck, being stationary, losing morale, and not getting a change of leadership and getting a change of the environment. So that's why they switch things up, especially like even you'll see in units where the first sergeant or commander usually only in that unit for maybe 1 year, maybe 2 years before they either get moved to another unit on that same installation or to a completely different installation altogether. Soldiers will commonly be there a little bit longer than that. They might be there for 3 years, 4 years. It really just kind of depends on different situations, but it's to get things switched up. You don't want to be stuck in one unit for your entire Army career, even though it still does happen, but you don't want to be stuck there for the whole entire time, and that's the only experience you get. It's best to kind of mix up that experience. So adding these 3 years instead of 2 years to these overseas assignments just kind of allows soldiers to get a little bit better, more proficient at their job from this unit before they move on to another unit. But also at the same time, the Army wants to save a little bit of money and not have to swap out soldiers quite as fast. Now, also for maybe those of you that maybe are not familiar with the Army or the military ways, this doesn't mean that if a soldier is being sent to this duty assignment for 3 years, that they're there for 3 straight years. No, there's going to be some time in there where they're going to get some time to take a vacation, to take leave. Commonly, the way it's done is basically once a year. So you're going to get something like maybe somewhere in the middle, somewhere where you want to choose during that first year to take leave, and then that second year another time, and so on and so forth. So for each year you're there, you're going to probably get maybe like 30 days of leave. It's kind of the common way that it'll kind of work. There might be other units that maybe break that up, and maybe you're doing 2 weeks maybe at one part of the year, and then 2 weeks another part of the year. It may vary. Most commonly, the way I've seen it though is that somewhere's in that 1 year time span, you're taking a whole 30 days and going back to maybe somewhere in the States or wherever it is that you want to go. And I'm not 100% sure, but I believe I remember that the Army actually pays for the flight to get them back to the United States. That way the soldier isn't stuck paying some really expensive international flight to get back to the United States. I'm not 100% sure, but I want to say I remember like when I was stationed in Korea, I did 2 years over there, so I got twice to take leave for 30 days, and I'm pretty sure they paid for my flight to get me back to the United States to wherever I wanted to go to in the United States. So soldiers won't be spending that entire 3 years, in that duty assignment. They're going to get a chance to go home and visit family or whatever they need to do. So what are your thoughts on this? Do you care whether it's 3 years or 2 years, whatever maybe your thoughts on this? Do you feel like it's a good idea, bad idea, or whatever? Leave some comments down below. Check out some recommended videos right over there. Links are down in the description. You've just been filled in. I love your faces, and I'll see you next time, I guess. I'm ThatChrisChaos. See ya.